Let's talk about food. Can't believe I just fucking penned myself for a 3-second sketch. So yeah, I'm talking about food today. Now I talked about food a little bit in the first video, but I'm going to talk more about what can you expect to eat here, what the kind of restaurants, only a little bit though. I'm a little bit poor money wise, so this will be like what I could have in the immediate vicinity of my work, of my home, and the prices that I could get for it, with some photos, with some videos, you know, the usual. So let's get into it with some of the details around eating food in China. Now, I'm talking about going out to eat. In terms of buying food for your home, I'll talk about that later. That will be covered in another time. So this is more about going out to eat food in China, in restaurants, and markets and stalls. This will be mainly about restaurants, but with some photos here and there to show some market stalls. So when it comes to food in China, buying it in restaurants, it's much the same on you get a menu, you pick your order, you go, you're done. A lot of restaurants here prefer you to do scan a QR code, and you just add your food to the order, you buy it, and they will just bring it to the exact table that you've scanned the QR code from. Quite simple, quite fast, it lets you see all the food, all the drink and pay for it, no worries. A lot of restaurants I've been to now have been doing that. Other smaller ones will be, you pay at the end kind of deal, your classic, you pay after you've had your food. So not too much of a difference here and there. In terms of what restaurants bring, now I believe this is a Chinese culture thing, but the Chinese people like to have food to share. So they don't order a meal for you necessarily, when you go out to a restaurant, typically in Western places, you go out and you order one meal for you. Yeah? In China, it's more like you choose what you want, but then you're all going to share it, because big share plans. And a lot of restaurants are made that way. The portion sizes are huge because they're assuming that you're ordering for 2, 3, 4 people. So for these specific restaurants, it's like, this is how they hand. I think this is the common restaurant, at least this is the common one I've seen in Yangzhou, where you'd sit down at your table, and in front of you there would be a small plate, a bowl, spoon, chopsticks. They're obviously there for you. The plate and bowl are quite small because what you're meant to be doing is taking food from different dishes and putting them into your bowl or plate. Because a lot of Chinese food is meant to be eaten with people. Yes, you can have your own on your own. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means you're ordering less food. With a lot of restaurants I go with my co-workers, my friends, or I'm taking with them, and what we'll do is we'll sit down and we'll just we'll pick something off the phone, or we'll tick it on a menu, or we'll just tell the waiter and waitress what we'd like, and then they would just bring it out steadily, there would not wait. There's no starter, there's no main, there's no dessert, it's brought out and you're given it there and then. Like, I remember we went to this fancier restaurant in this shopping centre, and we'd ordered quite a lot of dishes. We ordered about 4 or 5 dishes, which is a fair amount, and then we ordered 2 desserts. The desserts came out second. They were the second dish to come out, and I was like, oh yeah, we'll leave them for last. And then my Chinese friends just ate them there and then. I'm pretty sure it was like a strange kind of ice cream. So they just ate the ice cream there and then immediately switched into spicy chicken. Because I guess it's just you eat what's there kind of deal. So you would tell them, you would order on the phone, and then it would just come on big share platters and you would just take bits as you go. It's kind of like a hot pot but for many different dishes. and you use it on your bowl, your plate. Sometimes you would turn your bowl into a kind of dipping bowl, you know? Like maybe you had a broth from a soup and you pour a bit of broth in, you can dip your meat, your veg into it and soak it up. Or maybe you made your own sauce. I see it's quite common to use like vinegar and peanut sauce and like garlic and spicy chili paste and all sorts, like chili paste and all that, to make your own little sauce. And then you can dip your meat, your veg again onto all of that. Or, you know, if you were having a meat dish with like meat and bones, if they were cooking with the bones as well, you would you eat the meat in your mouth, all usual, and then if the bones couldn't be broken down, you would just spit it into your hand or into the bowl and leave it there. That's the scraps. Or if you do it with seafood, lobster, prawns, that kind of thing. So let's talk about some other restaurants. So I said I was talking about food that was in the immediate vicinity of me. So by that I mean around my home and where my work is and the route to it. With occasional, I go with friends and co-work, those two places. So I'll talk about some places in my work, because I mentioned about a food court. Now, that food court, it's not just that. There's a common thing from what I've seen, shopping centres here, where, depending on how many floors there are, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but at least the top 2 floors, in my case the 5th and the 4th floor, are dedicated to food. So the 4th floor will be restaurants, tons of restaurants scattered around, and then the 5th floor is even more, sometimes a bit more expensive restaurants, and then a food court where there are smaller restaurants to go to. I've been to several of the actual restaurants on the 4th floor, those photos, videos, usual. And they're all fantastic. They can range from hot pot to barbecue, Korean barbecue to buffets. There's also 2 very famous restaurants in China. One of them is famous purely for its food. I think it's like a hot pot place, and another one's famous for its service, its customer service. Now, I haven't been to it yet, mainly because my friends don't want to go to a hot pot place because they always have hot pot. So I haven't experienced it, but I get to see the customer service because it's on my walk to the food court. Basically, the restaurant's very popular, so when a restaurant's popular, there's wait times. And because we're indoors, there's tables that they can wait at. But the way this is set up is, there's the restaurant, and then there's a bunch of tables that they can wait at, curving around a staircase, and then there's a little booths behind these tables where you can sit down, and there's little little arcade machines that you can play, like Street Fighter or that kind of thing. It's that's there while you wait on the food, and then that's probably to satisfy the kids, the guys, sometimes the girls, and then just so they can keep the service up, they have a manicure and pedicure station. So while you're waiting, you can go and get your nails done, go and get your toenails, go get your feet done, while you wait on your foot, to be called to go get your food. These staff are trained to do your nails, keep them nice, paint them, and then they're trained to do the same with nails. And I'm pretty sure they give you, they wash your hair for you as well. And even then, if you're just simply waiting at the table, waiting at the small tables, they'll come around with little snacks, little peanut snacks, and tea, always tea. I'll get to that, but always tea or water, and they'll refill it and they'll just keep you there. And then you'll hear a speaker call your table number, your number to come up and go to the restaurant finally. So that's why they are known for their service. They're trying to keep waiting customers happy and content while they deal with everybody else in the restaurant. I've been to some barbecue places. So I went to this Taiwanese place quite recently, actually, it was frog, chicken feet and shrimp, along with cold chicken, I'm pretty sure. All very nice. I took some videos and photos. That's one restaurant, but as I'm trying to say, it's diverse. That's the fourth floor, and the fourth floor alone there's about 25 restaurants there of all differing styles, and yes, that's common anywhere. But my point I'm going to bring it back to is it's cheap. It's really cheap. All of it's super cheap. The more expensive things are barbecue because you're ordering a lot of meats, but you're not going to barbecue yourself. Like I said, the most expensive things at barbecue push into the £10 region because you're ordering more meat, higher quality meat at that point. But you can still order full dishes at barbecue places. But the point I'm trying to bring with what we're talking about, like this customer service, is the diversity and your options. I maybe mentioned it last video, but I could go to every single restaurant in this one shopping centre in Yangzhou, and I could eat there every day for a month, and I would only have covered half of the restaurants probably, and not all of the dishes, you know. On this fourth floor there's a couple of franchise or brand places. They've got Pizza Hut. Yes, Pizza Hut's here. I will get into the franchise foods sometime in another video, but there's a bunch of franchise places, like Chinese franchise restaurants. One of them's called Mr. Pizza. I haven't been to it because, if I'm honest, the pizzas look awful. They're Chinese style pizzas, but they just don't look nice. I will go to Pizza Hut, sadly. Now the fifth floor is mainly where I go. So the fifth floor has a couple of more expensive restaurants, yes, but then the fifth floor has the food court, which is where me and a lot of my co-workers and friends go during our lunch and dinner breaks at work, because it's cheaper and faster. So the food court has many restaurants, and they're all very quick to prepare. Like, just to name a couple, there's a very popular dumpling place. It's like, dumplings, so they're boiled, steamed, and then they're pan fried. Variety of dumplings you can get: pork, shrimp, veg, and the deals they do with them, you can get the dumplings and soup. Yeah, so much. There's fried frogs and chickens. Yes, I've had frog. I'm saying that now. I've had frog. It tastes like chicken, so I don't really care to have frog. Chicken feet. Yes, I've had chicken feet. It's just like chicken, but you're not getting as much of the meat. So again, I'd rather just have chicken breasts, wings, that kind of thing. As for other restaurants, there's what are the things? There's a couple of Japanese places. There's a couple of Japanese places that do like teriyaki chicken, udon, eel, pork cutlet, that kind of deal. Very cheap, might I add. There's a meal that I can compare to a restaurant, but one of my favourite restaurants back in Scotland. So in Scotland there's a kind of meal where you can get, it's like a seafood or chicken or a veg one. In this restaurant it's called Nippon Kitchen. So you'd get like teriyaki chicken, you'd get pork rice, you would get like a little bit extra, you'd get some sushi on the side and miso soup, and it would cost about £17, which is quite a lot. In China, in this one Japanese restaurant, they've got this teriyaki chicken over a bowl of rice, they've got some sushi, they've got this kind of salad for you, some miso soup, and it costs £3.50, and like a whole £13 price difference is mental for the amount of food you get. So it's perfect to have it a lot for lunch. If you're around, that I dub it the pick and mix restaurant. So you know how you get a pick and mix for candy, you pick all your type of candy. This one's a pick and mix for like meat and veg. So you get two bowls, one for veg, one for meat, and you pick you pick whatever you want, whatever the restaurant's offering you. There's a lot of them around. You just put it into a bowl and you give it to the woman. She weighs it, that will go to your cost, and then This one that I go to asks, do you want it in a broth or do you want it dry? As in, not much broth, just whatever's at the bottom from cooking. And then do you want it a little spicy, spicy, a lot spicy, and no spicy? I always have a little spicy because the Chinese estimation of spicy is very spicy. So that's like something quick to get. There's a couple of Korean places that do Korean fried chicken, that do rice dumplings, that do like, was it bibimbap? There's this kind of, they call it like they like label themselves like a Western cafe, and it's like, they offer you a steak, you don't get to choose how it's cooked, with a sunny side up egg and pasta. And then it's all coated in this gravy sauce, I'm pretty sure. And then you get two scoops of ice cream, two cake slices, and a drink. Now, and it costs 38 RMB, so that's £4. So yeah, maybe you're getting a well done steak, you're getting a sunny side up egg, and you're getting pasta, the kind of screw pasta, I guess you could say, sauce, ice cream. Kids love it. That's the most popular restaurant I see. Tons of people go and pick that restaurant. It's the kind of popular one, and what's known as a Yangzhou specialty is fried rice. Now that sounds quite simple, you know. Why is Yangzhou's specialty fried rice? I just put it on a pan and fry it. Done. Yangzhou's fried rice is kind of like, you know, mixing it up with a lot of veg and meat. They cook it in their own sauces. It's very delicious. It's very savoury. It's very popular and it's very cheap. It always costs a little amount of money, so people always grab this fried rice. So I've talked a lot about the restaurants in my shopping centre where I work. So yeah, there's tons of them. I'll continually show videos and photos of it through this video, through other videos that I talk about food, just to show you the differences and the prices. Now, as I said, I'm poor. Payday is literally like 1 or 2 days out from when this video comes out, so you'll see more food at that point. But to make up for it, I'll scatter a lot of food videos from when I wasn't poor in this video at the end as well, in like a montage, so you can see what I had on offer. The heart and soul of the Chinese food isn't in the shopping centres, it isn't even near the shopping centres, it's in the smaller areas that look like you would never find it unless you got lost, you know? Like that's where you're gonna get the real authentic kind of food. You sit in the restaurants, there's like Chinese guys just screaming, drinking beer, there's smoking, people that are shouting, the waitresses, and then you get this massive bowl of food and you can just tuck in and it's delicious. Those are the kind of places where I've had the most memorable Chinese food. One of the recent ones is after I went for a haircut, I went with some friends to this restaurant they said they go to every time they're here in this area. And what we had was small lobster and we had duck head. Now, I know people are going to be like, duck head, fuck that. I don't want the eye or the brain or the nose or whatever. But oh my god, I've not had a food like it. The skin was crispy, I think the bill, that was crispy as well, and it had this spicy, tangy, tingly feeling. It was nothing like I'd ever had. And then, like, you know, the inside is just like all meat and mush at this point, so it just tasted like, not mush, that's putting it bad, just meat at that point. You don't notice it, but it was fantastic. I still think about it. It was so good. I'm kind of salivating and thinking about it right now. In other one we had lobster. Lobster's lobster, but it was just like cooked in this like kind of spicy broth. So there we go, we're just tearing into something like fucking 30, 40 lobster and these spicy ducks. And like that's the kind of food that you're not going to experience often in the shopping centre, because it will be more franchise and brand, like it'll be like cooked like in a routine, you know, rather than like a family run down place. Yeah, the food here has blown my mind. I've been talking mainly about Chinese cuisine, but there's also lots of other things. There's Western food. They're trying to bring Western food to China, not trying. That sounds like me talking shit. So obviously I've talked about a lot of Chinese cuisine. Yes, there's tons of it. I will get into more detail of what kind of Chinese food there is and what you can have the more I experience it. But there's also your Western food, your Japanese, your Korean. I've touched on the Japanese, Korean, but there's also Western food, and I'm not talking about fast food. There are Western restaurants that they try to emulate. Like anywhere tries to emulate a country's cuisine. I've been to some. One of them is like someone I know. I've been to the restaurant. They try to emulate brunch. they do it in a very fun way. And I've tried. It's going to be way before it was here. So many of the dishes, and it's fantastic. They're a bit more expensive. They're in the 50 to 100 RMB region. All their food is fantastic, and the desserts, the drinks, amazing. So even if you were homesick for some reason, you come to China and you were for some bloody reason craving a good old British or American brunch, you can still go and get it. It's there. Just trust me, you don't need to worry. There's your burger restaurants, your pizza places, some Italian ones, but I've yet to go to an Italian restaurant because I don't know, something about it. So yeah, there's plenty of food here in China, like in Yangzhou alone. And I haven't even stumbled on it. This is just me talking about food I ate this week and showing you some photos I've had. So I'm just trying to give you a small picture. I'm rambling again. I'm just trying to give you a small picture, or I guess a teaser for what I will eventually get to show, hopefully very, very soon, of Chinese food and how fucking expansive it is, how cheap it is, how delicious it is. Yeah, maybe I've missed something, I'll cover it, I'll go back to it. But that's kind of an idea of Chinese food. The more confident I am with this video, the more I will try to venture out and filming myself with these places. If I'm lucky, some Chinese people might let me see them cook, so you guys can get an idea of what it's like. But yeah, for now it's just me rambling over food, telling you. So the main points for me to tell you is there's a lot of sharing to be done. Food's very cheap. They use a lot of different ingredients. Western food is still a big thing here. And yeah, I think that's the main points I was trying to get through to you. So I hope maybe not that you learn, but I hope that you've got a kind of insight into some Chinese food here, some different kinds of food, some restaurants, some of the photos and videos that you see. As for future food videos, I've already said I plan on doing a street video within the next week or two. Payday's very soon, so I'll go with some friends, so I'll be able to go and experience some actual street food. Can show you how it's cooked, eating, and I can give you like a kind of taste test of it if possible. One of them I plan to do is on a fast food place, probably the big three initially, so maybe fast food part 1 at some point, on McDonald's, KFC and Burger King, mainly just on their regional dishes, the things that they only offer in China, because they offer some very strange dishes, I'll tell you that. The pricing differences and all sorts. That'll be a video at some point, and I'll cover food videos as I go, honestly. Like I said, China's food is huge. Like the amount of food that you can get here is expanding, it's huge. Food will be an ever expanding, constant theme on this channel because there's so much to cover, and I'm a fat fuck, so I'm always eating. So enough about the food videos. For future videos themselves, there will be a sort of here's where I live kind of video, not my apartment. That's going to be in this video actually, surprise, because that's maybe actually. There will be it's a kind of like general, this is the kind of area I live in, this is the kind of city Yangzhou is. So a Yangzhou tour, showing you some touristy places like Slender West Lake, Dongguan Street, some of the busier streets and shopping centres, so you can get an idea of the many restaurants and shops that I talk about. Yeah. For other videos, I guess I'll do some more informational videos, talking about some things you might want to know if you come to China, you know, like a top 5 things you should know or prepare, because there are some things that I definitely should have, maybe not researched, but some things that I'm glad to know now that I'd at least want to tell others. And another one, this is proposed by friends and I've asked, at some point I will ask my Chinese friends to sit with me in a video and ask questions to me, or me ask questions to them. I'm not really sure of the questions, but they wanted to ask questions at the very least. And I guess that will also give you guys a Chinese person's perspective of things, you know, food, culture, people, me, Western people, you know, just so you can compare them and you can see the big difference in a fun way. And yeah, that's the kind of videos that are spinning around in my head right now. If you guys have any suggestions, things that you want to see, know about here, or just me talk about, just let me know in the comments and messages, whoever's watching this, and I'll get around to making it. I'm going to try and make these videos weekly. Even with work being very, very busy, summer's our busiest period. I'll leave a kind of montage of photos of food and videos of places that didn't make it into the actual video, so you guys can see some of the other places that I've just got to try and you can be wowed. I'll try and put the name of the dish if possible, and yeah. And I'll do a quick apartment tour at the end of this video as well. I don't want to go into an in-depth apartment tour because I'm moving apartment at some point, so I'll just kind of show you where I live. Cool? Alright. But yeah, I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Bye bye.